Red is on.
That is so crazy.
You're officially the, all right, we will open this meeting of Monday, November 21st, 2016. Let the record show that Selectman Jessamine will not be joining us tonight, and Selectman Scanlon should be on his way. At this time, I'd like to make a motion to go into non-public per RSA 91A:3 contracts.
Second.
Roll call vote?
Yes.
Yes.
I see this.
My brother's out of surgery.
Oh, thank God. Is he all right?
Okay.
Motion to seal the non-public minutes as they pertain to contract negotiations till the matter is resolved.
Second.
Roll call vote?
Yes.
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 I have something quick before we get into the budget. Brock stopped me this morning and said that basically we need to replace, if we want lights in the trees on Main Street, we're going to have to buy new lights. He is saying that they went through it, and it's not the batteries or whatnot, it's not simple, it's the wires. So some of them, if you stand there and you fiddle with the wires, they'll come on and then they go off. So he's basically going to take them all down. If we want lights in the trees, we're going to have to spend $810 for new lights.
Are those solar or electric?
Solar.
72 foot.
When are they gonna get in?
Couple of days,
Yeah, they're prime, so,
so they could be after it on Monday.
They can get them in before the first?
They could get these down, yes, and then
Friday.
Monday.
They're doing delivery for Friday.
Where'd the money come from?
Off Milwaukee.
someone would.
somewhere out of our budget.
All right.
810, isn't that what we
All right.
figured?
Make a motion, we buy the lights.
Second. All those in favor?
Yes.
Opposed?
Oh, I was waiting for discussion. All those in favor?
I
Yes.
suppose. Is there any guarantee that these are going to last any longer than?
Depends on how they're taken down and put up. You can't yank them out of the tree.
These have only been put up and taken down once.
No, twice.
I wonder why they can't just be left on.
Because when they first
It's
took
got
them
worse
down,
one.
when they first put them up, they had to take them down. And we said, no, leave them up. It's better to leave them up. Then
We
they
left.
put them back up again, and then they took them down for the chippers.
No,
Yeah, a couple of them-
Parks put them up,
Parks put them up.
and
We put
Parks
them
took
up.
them down for chippers.
Yeah. They stayed up.
Highway Garage took them down once. I
Oh,
know
yeah,
that.
no, she's right. Highway Garage
Right.
did take them
I
down
know they
once.
did.
They did take them down once.
Okay.
And maybe that was for chippers. We put them up and left them,
Yep.
and then the highway took them down for chippers, or for whoever did Main Street. But we did leave them up,
No, the tree work, we took them down for the tree work.
whatever. I know
These
Public
are-
Works took them
I
down
know
once.
Public Works
The ones
took
that
them
were
down
up with
because
solar?
They didn't know where to put them
Yeah.
afterwards.
We don't have any way of making them electric.
Well, we
Not
should probably,
Can I just
don't throw out
do
the
quick
solar part,
no-brainers?
portion of it, because that would be.
I told them to put them, take them down, put them in a tub, and then I'll take them home and dub with them through the spring. and-
Christmas wreaths
Do you know what I
we
mean?
get from Bob Hardy,
Oh, come
and he
on.
wants to know if we want to
I'll
do
pick
them
a
again.
deer.
Knitting party. Go.
So is that all right?
Christmas wreaths, bar party, yes.
Sure.
I'm a yes.
Yeah, because we return the frames and he gives us a discount.
Oh, sure, that's great.
Okay, and the next thing, just quickly, I don't know if you've noticed these signs up on the doors. There's 3 signs. I took this one off our back door. And did you notice the ones in the front door?
I don't think everybody can see it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We've never stuck those up in the doors before.
Because they kept going to the front door last year, and there was a big to-do about it, because why are we sending them to the front door? Send them to the back door where the applications are.
It's up to the selectmen, it's our building.
Yes, I
If
just want-
the front desk is upset with it, then they're going to be upset with it, but we're not going to, I don't think we should be posting that on the doors.
We can put it in the kiosk.
I wouldn't put it in the kiosk.
Okay, it's just that the front door is the front door to the town hall.
These people who apply for who come into the town hall do not have to use the back door. They can use it by choice.
Do you remember, that's why I made that box last year, is because of the big
I know, but all
Houdini.
they have to do is just say, go right around.
That's right.
And there's a sign on Heather's door.
That's all they have to do. Yet,
I know, but to me, this was just, this was so offensive.
It is offensive.
I totally get it.
It is extremely offensive.
I agree with you, but
To take
you're
these
just,
off the-
it's gonna
off the
cause
doors.
trouble.
So here's the thing.
I'm going to be here for the rest of this
The-
next week.
This building is under the control of the selectmen. If something's going to go on the doors, it should come from the selectmen or our representative, the town administrator. No one should be putting up things on the doors unless it's checked with the board of selectmen or our representative, the town administrator.
When the town hall's closed.
Exactly.
Those signs, or like.
Exactly, but we're not gonna,
Is there a sign for that in the kiosk outside? On the corner? The sign for the applications?
You'd have to put inside town hall in the hallway, or something to that effect. You can't just say inside here, because they'll be breaking the kiosk down. to
Yeah,
see where
really.
they are.
people know where to go for that. We don't need signs. I don't want to take the chance of offending anybody,
I just,
anybody.
How did it offend somebody
I think
if
it's
we...
consensus.
There was a woman that came in, last
All right.
night, she was very nice, putting an application for a grandson, was disabled.
Okey-doke. So,
She was kind of offended, she was told.
all right. Are we gonna start with
Oh.
administration, or way up at the top?
I was putting it in the kiosk would be a good thing.
We can start way up at the top. I'll just give you the real high-level view.
People know.
Right now, we've several changes of the budget, and the numbers are correct, the comments are correct. The formatting didn't come out as I would like, but time will fix that. I'll fix that now. So, administration, we're down there primarily due to the change in insurance plan. So going to Primex from LGC, that's the majority of that. Town clerk tax collector increase is due mainly to the town clerk tax collector's salary. Finance, we're going down $58,000, and that's due because we don't have Riverfront Park construction or cleanup debt any longer. It was paid off.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Her increase, 7%, right?
Yes.
But that's not reflected here.
No, because what you're looking at...
Has she gone down in
looking at the
others?
total.
Oh, she went down because of, I know, okay.
Election.
Yep,
fewer
yep, yep,
elections
yep,
this
yep,
year.
yep,
So I'm
yep,
just
yep,
kind of giving you the highlights on...
Yeah,
this.
no, I just expected that to be higher.
IT, there's some less expenditures, and I'll get into that. The land use, that's primarily because of the promotion, that increase. In police, now police is a little more complicated because of the personnel. What you'll see in this number here, the $2,026,000 includes a replacement for the former prosecutor in patrol. So this includes a patrol position. And it does have a full year of the prosecutor in there, and it reflects only 2016 wages. So keep in mind that any collective bargaining negotiation would be in a separate warrant article. In Public Works, the majority of that increase of $113,000 is due to our solid waste recycling and collection. Anticipating, it's priced in the budget the way we're doing it now, which is MSW collection, curbside, and recycling collection curbside, not mandatory.
Can we put that in its own section, sanitation?
I can split it out.
Yeah, it does make sense.
Sanitation/recycling?
it'd be like its own little mini department.
No, we can do that. And, okay, so when we get to that, I'll ask you some questions about that, but yeah, that's not a problem at all. The budget outside of sanitation is up about $21,000 for Public Works. And the Public Works Director has gone through this budget, and he did make changes to several lines where he thought we were low, took some others where he thought we were high, and then also we ended up dissolving one of the lines that we've had for years because he felt it was unnecessary.
Great character.
No, we got rid of that a few years ago.
Oh.
No, storm drains, and I'll show you why. Because it's really, there's really two components in that. We use subcontractors and road materials, and so he preferred to put the money into subcontracting and road materials as opposed to having a separate line for storm drains.
Our guys fix the storm drains sometimes. They fix the one down, but they fix the one by Providian.
Yeah.
Well,
Not
that was
Eastern
his-
Pipe, whoever did the catch basins.
Yep, which is primarily it's subcontractors.
Our
that
Public
use-
Works fixed the catch basin down by
Every
Providian,
year
even though it was DOT. Are you talking about pumped?
That's under subcontract.
the
Yeah, but I
majority-
was-
The majority is under subcontractors, but I'll get to that. when we get
Okay.
to that budget. Health and welfare, it is flat, although I think a case could be made to reduce one of the lines in there. Culture and recreation is up, as you can see, 1.8%. I've not received anything from Parks Commission, and I've emailed Bob. He said he had one he was going to get to me, but I haven't received it yet. So what's in the budget is the same as last year. And keep in mind that that also includes contracts for Riverfront Park, Vets Pocket Park, and Civil War Memorial for landscaping and weeding, that sort of thing. So,
Lack thereof.
and then outside agencies are just what was requested from the agencies. So as we go into more detail, and that second page just shows you the breakdown of, if you were to look at the entire town by department for wages, benefits, taxes, and then you can see how it's sort of grouped at very high level. So vehicle-related, road-related, buildings, that sort of thing. So it's just kind of an interesting way to look at how much is your personnel and personnel-related costs, and they're roughly under 62%. So, going into administration, probably the two largest items that changed in here are the legal expense in 16 was $40,000. We reduced it to $30,000. And then also the
Printing.
the town hall maintenance and repairs in the past has been, in 16 it was 25,000, and we lowered that to 20,000. And outside of that, those were the two big changes. Some of the other lines, there were minor adjustments here and there based on what we've seen in prior years or training that was deemed to be needed. We don't have the supervisors of the checklist budget either. That's the other one that we're waiting on.
Why is Grange building maintenance increased?
Primarily because of our, just the expenses with the building. We've spent a little more money, I believe, in pest control, and just increases in utilities.
The only expenses we should be paying on the Grange building is though we own the building empty. So that's roof repairs, the infrastructure, the alarm system.
Well,
I wasn't aware we were paying for pest management, but yet, when the building was empty, we did have problems with the squirrels.
Yeah.
They were really destroying the building, so I guess I could see that. So what else has driven that up?
well, historically, we paid utilities to keep it heated to a degree.
We shouldn't be paying for any heat.
Well, that's what we've done in.
We've been
prior
paying
years.
for heat?
Yeah, we've always paid for heat. It's a building and it has pipes in it.
Yes, but as I said, the agreement is that we would maintain the building as though it were empty. So in other words, when, in the winter, there was nobody in it, the building is drained.
No, because people use it during the winter months.
Nobody used it in the winter months before it became the senior center. The building was drained.
Right, but it's not just used as a senior center. There's other people that use the building.
Who?
We rent it out.
And where does rental money go? Does it come to the general fund?
It does, yeah. There's some that goes to the senior center, like when they receive a donation,
Well, of course.
that sort of thing goes to them, but
The rental goes to the senior center.
the rental does.
If we didn't pay for the heat, how would the heat get paid for?
I guess it would have to be done by donations. The only other thing, but,
But okay.
listen, well, we've had this in existence for years like this.
Then leave it alone, for me. If that's the way it's been done, I wasn't aware of it, but doesn't leave it alone.
Well, it used to be under culture and recreation, right?
Right.
That's where they reported, and then it's like, well, this is just part of building maintenance. Because there's lots of entities that use it. I rented the thing out. Lots of people rent it out.
And also,
I wasn't aware that it was rented out.
Yeah, and there's also,
Yeah, the board voted for it to go to the rentals go to the senior center.
But I didn't realize it was rented that much. I knew that people used it, we've had meetings there and whatnot, but I didn't know it was rented.
The Winnisquam teachers have used it for their reunions, a couple of reunions, the Twomley.
I think the use as a senior center is very important, and I wouldn't want to quibble over it for heat. I was just surprised I wasn't aware that we paid for it.
It's very
just
well
the
used.
building, just the general building maintenance, whether senior center's using it or outside groups are using it, it's another town building.
yeah, and it does get used an awful lot.
It does.
That's good. It was falling apart before.
It's got life to it.
It's an asset
Oh, yeah.
now,
No,
it's a beautiful
It
asset.
is.
Do we expect heat to go up? Because I noticed heat is up in the town hall line by $800.
But, that's
And
always,
we've used $4,287, and that says of what, the end of
well, it's
October?
it's always in arrears with heat, electricity, because what I try to do is, I try to manage the cash in such a way that if I can put it on a Visa bill, I do, I pay for it that way. So with the gas is paid through Liberty, but it's still a month in arrears. So
Okay, but is the rate for gas going up or down?
we're now in a new contract term with Agrera, which is .5218 cents per therm.
Is that up or down?
That is down. That's down by about, I think it's 3% over where we were.
So are we expecting some really cold days between now and January?
Are you talking about for town hall? The reason with town hall is that it's not so much the price of the material, it's how the town hall gets changed so frequently. So the temperature management, let me put it that way. I've been concerned a number of times.
Yeah, why aren't we controlling that better? Because I've walked into this building sometimes and walked right back out to take a breath of air because it was like walking into, getting off the airplane in Florida in August.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more, but I don't think that's any one person's
No, I don't either.
doing. I think part of that is the nature of the building and the heating system that we have.
I think that we could control the dramatic ups and downs because I have watched people go over and go, whew. Instead of moving it up a couple degrees, it usually goes up 5 or 6.
We have someone in the
Yeah,
office
until it
that
gets
does
hot,
that.
turn down.
But
So-
the board has no control over.
Why don't we look into getting something that would control that?
Well, whenever I do change the heat, I tell someone, I tell Gail, or back when it was Catherine, I told you when I came in on Saturday, I said, I'm the one that turned up the heat because it was so cold. So,
Right, but you probably walked over and turned it up a couple degrees.
yeah, I think
You didn't go.
I turn it until I hear it click.
Yeah.
So, there are electronic systems that will monitor the heat. And
Because here's the other thing. Friday afternoon at 5 o'clock, we should have a thermostat that sends it down to 68. And then on Sunday night at 5 o'clock in the morning,
You're looking at like a programmable one.
yeah.
Right, exactly.
In a box that people cannot stick their jackknives in and open.
Well, and that's been going on for years.
Yes.
They always take the covers off.
They take.
Well, now we have cameras, so we can see who does that.
We know
Is there
who
a
does
certain
it.
area that has trouble with the temperature that, are there certain
You have
areas?
some people
section of
who
the
are
building
colder,
that has-
colder than others.
Well, I'm going to refer to an area that has, seems to be reported as having a lesser temperature than others. Because if you want, I can loan you, I have a temperature recorder that has minimum and maximum that it's reached.
You're talking about the same
See if there's a
area of
problem.
Town Hall that they don't like us to take the awnings off because it gets so hot with the sun shining directly in.
The easiest way to warm that area is to just open my door, even a crack, because then you get the airflow.
Joyce's office is sometimes
It's very
so
bad.
hot.
Well, I gotta tell you, I spent the day Friday here from like 8:30 or so in the morning until
In both rooms, in and out of both rooms?
in and out of both rooms, and then I spent time in the hall in the, at the conference table. In the afternoon, employees were complaining it was way too hot up here, and all the doors got opened. And-
With the heat on.
And, and downstairs, in Gail's office,
Outside
where I...
doors?
Yep, and I was in Gail's office,
Yeah.
Which makes
I was
cold breeze
freezing.
blowing the thermostat, which
and all the
increases
doors
the
were
heat.
open. So you're still not going to control, but you're still not going to make everyone happy.
Right, well,
They
there's-
might have been happy at the front desk up here because it came from the back door, down here, and then up there. I mean, meanwhile, there were other people that were frozen along the way.
Well, that's why, and, you know, I was concerned about our usage. 'Cause it's a tough building. It's got an old system and it's
Oh,
pipes going
It's
I
everywhere.
steam.
mean, if we look
It's
over here,
the-
we've
one
got
of the
a
hottest heats
table
going.
blocking off, 3 feet of the heat there, tables pushing.
Leaking cold air.
Well, we keep
See all
it,
those tables?
we don't
up
turn the
against that
heat up, we don't turn the heat up here.
No, but that will control, that will block the
Well,
heat
you
uselessly.
got that all over there.
In front of the radiators?
Yep.
And also on Johanna's side.
Yeah, but we'd keep, it's probably below 70 up here most of the time.
It turns the furnace on, doesn't deliver the heat if you block a radiator.
I don't think up here is the real problem. We have our own thermostat.
Downstairs, is it blocked in the areas that
I
can?
don't know.
They have
No.
very few, they have
No.
one in the lobby, there's a
Right.
radiator there,
Right.
and then there's, the next radiator is in the copy room,
Yeah.
and then in the conference room, it's against one wall, so that's what...
The copy room door is closed most of the time, though.
Yeah.
When this downstairs was,
Heat rises, so it goes,
Yep.
when the
Goes up
downstairs,
over the copy room.
when the
Yeah.
downstairs was chopped into offices.
Except they can't get the cold air coming, circulating into the room, that's the problem.
well, the other thing that happens is each time, the only way you're getting air circulation is when the doors open and close, and those doors open and close all day long, especially, I mean, our back door gets used almost as much as the front door.
I've been here since 2009, and that's been the number one complaint. One side of the room is okay, the other side's too hot or too cold, and vice versa. You know, I mean, you've been here 15 years, right? Isn't that the same?
Yeah, I hear the complaints, but they're never consistent, and the administrative assistant we had before was
You know, it's tough with the building that people
You're
go
talking
in
about
and
somebody
out
who
of,
likes to
and
be cold.
It's tough in a building people are going in and out of.
Now that we've spent 10 minutes on $800 worth of heat, can we
Move on.
Sure thing. So the big things there were the maintenance and repairs going from 25 down to 20, and some of the things that had been identified that should be looked at for use of that 20,000 is improving the security for the ramp door entry, and looking at general security issues with some of the other offices. But one of the things in particular is that ramp door cannot be locked from the inside. You can only lock it from the outside. And the chief was very concerned about that.
So there's no way with an Allen wrench you can
Slide bolt.
do the push bar to... Is that a push bar or a crank?
It's a push
It's a
bar.
push bar.
Just get a slide bolt. Look,
Either that or like the ones at the school, the way they unlock them is with an Allen wrench on the inside, it holds the closer in so that you can pull the door open. And then when you want to lock it from the inside, you just a couple of twists with the Allen wrench and it pops it back out.
So automatic locks.
Yeah, because that's what they do at the high school.
What the chief had talked about was having like an electronic lock on that, on the ramp door.
Oh, are we gonna,
No,
am I gonna
thank
get
you.
another fob?
No,
to go with
thank
this
you.
fob?
Well, I'm just telling you, and primarily because then if they were concerned with some situation in the downtown, they could ensure that people inside town have to lock that door quickly and easily, so. In any case, those are some of the items that were identified.
The price of that's included in there?
No, those are the items that would be under consideration in the notes. There's no pricing.
Where's the notes on that?
The notes are in the online version. If you were to look at that cell under the administration tab, under admin, you'll see it says the entry, ramp door, security improvements, ramp entry, electronic lock, interior wall, second door, land use. Those are just some of the things that were identified. With the legal general expense, we'd reduce that based upon the pipeline of cases, the coverage through Primex, and then also the fact that hopefully a majority of the negotiations would be completed in 2016.
they're gonna be completed before February,
Well,
right?
yeah, but the chief also has money in his budget for negotiations and legal expense, but between the two, we just felt it was possible to reduce that sum. And you can see what we've spent year to date is under $12,000.
For what?
That was legal expense. So we've taken it from 40 to 30.
Even with the contract year?
But the contract should be done by February.
The majority of it should be done at that point.
Right, because we have 3 meetings scheduled in 2016. We'll probably have another 2 meetings in 2016, and then 2017, 3 more meetings, 6 meetings.
Well, since we've contracted with the attorney for this negotiation, couldn't we pay for it with this year's monies?
We can certainly, I would think, maybe even we would pay some type of
Get a bill.
retainer.
Right.
You know, you get a lower price per hour. It's prepay, say some
Yep.
portion. Yeah. So those are the major things there. In the insurances, workers' comp, property liability, and unemployment, we saved money from our previous property liability trust going to Primex in all 3 of those areas. And in some cases, we're having to do a little more work ourselves, but it's not a big deal. And also, if you happen to look in the online version, you know, through the budget, you'll see that the shaded things, those are formulas, and in general, most of them are pulled from the wages tab. So whenever you see a shaded, green shaded cell, that's what that means. So in the next budget, we get to town clerk tax collector. And there you see that she's put in for the same % increase as 2016, she did for 2016, and that represents $4,004. The other items, there weren't a lot of changes. other than to reduce the training and dues, because there was one big thing that had been completed this year by the deputy, and then election registration was brought down some because of the fewer elections in 2017. There should only be the one town election in 2017. So,
Is that where do we put supervisors and ballot clerks?
supervisors are in the admin budget.
Okay.
And the, as I mentioned, the supervisors, we don't have their budget yet, but it should be less.
Yeah, I just did it,
Oh, you did?
I think it was Friday, he came in and handed it to me. I quick scanned it and I handed him back as original.
Oh, okay.
Haven't had a chance to print it out.
I was asked,
3,200?
Less.
I would think it would be less, yeah.
I was asked to look at what we pay our supervisors to compare them with what other communities are doing. I talked to you about it months ago, but I haven't had a chance to sit down with you.
For what?
The supervisors. And it appears that
Checklist.
we may be low on the totem pole. But if that budget isn't in there for this year, I'll go over this with you maybe next week.
Yeah, that's fine.
How
Do you have
much
any data
lower?
on supervisors?
Well, we're not middle of the road, I think we're down on the bottom, but some of this is hard to,
All over the place. That's like what they pay town treasurers.
Right.
It's just, every town is different. But
well, it's like, here's one that's a very small town, and they pay him $225 per election and meeting. And we're at $195, $100.
So
Like I said, I mean, it's,
if we have that, Joyce said it's less than what we have in here now, so it makes sense to look at what they would pay. Is it not up to them, though, to budget that?
he asked me to look at it for him.
Oh, I see, okay. So,
He wouldn't, it would be up to us, wouldn't it be up,
No,
to
you have
him.
to ask.
they would put a
because he's an
request
elected
in.
official then.
They would put the request in.
They put
Right,
it,
you put it in request.
Th-
and
that's
it'd have
what I
to go to
said.
Legislative body, right.
no, that's only the town clerk tax collector. That's by statute for the town clerk tax collector.
You're downstairs, Conservation Commission.
Yes,
Yeah,
they-
supervisors of the checklist.
No, it should be the Conservation Commission, isn't it the
I've
third
got one
Monday?
You're
downstairs.
talking about the meeting,
Yeah.
yes, yeah,
That was good
they are
time.
downstairs.
you're
Yeah.
a little late, Dawn.
7 o'clock.
Start meeting at 7.
Okay, moving right along.
Okay, so that was the town clerk tax collector line, and so that's up slightly. In finance, there's no real changes there other than the absence of the debt. So without having the Riverfront Park cleanup and construction debt, we're now down to two notes. One is our USDA debt for the Lockmere sewer, and then the other is the 61 Business Park Drive debt on the property. And in 2018, we'll have a balloon payment that should satisfy that debt. So in IT, so there's some things in IT that might make sense to have a separate discussion on, but and I do have my chart in here linked, so you'll see that there's a hyperlink. It allows you to click on it and it'll take you to it, but essentially, there's not a lot of new stuff in there. There's one big question mark about TriTech, which is IMC, that's the police department's primary software package. And there's an opportunity that the chief would like to pursue, which would mean that we would save money each year in our annual maintenance with IMC, but we would lose control over the entire system.
That's probably a non-public conversation, as to do with safety.
Okay, all right, that's fine.
This is IT?
Yes.
Or-
I can go through that another time, the specifics of that, but right now, what I have in the IT budget is, really the only new things are, adding a few more users to the existing system because we are experiencing bump outs from too many people being logged in at the same time.
How many licenses do we have?
We have 13.
We have 13, and do we have 13
Well-
people at the same time running them?
When you-
Or
when
do we
you-
have people who forget to log
Well,
off
that
and go
that
home?
happens too, but those people are counseled. But you have the SRO that is sometimes forgotten because he's logged in from the school. And
Doesn't
then-
time out?
No, no.
So here's a question
they're
for
logged in
you.
and working.
Why is the school resource officer logged into the system here? Why doesn't he have a computer at the school that he can use on
Well, he-
their system? Because he's not arresting people on the street.
Well, he needs to have access to the data files, so when he connects to the system at the PD, he's then able to get into records management, and he's keeping track of juveniles, cases, other
Why?
cases that he has. That's what they do.
Isn't that what a prosecutor does?
No, but
He's prosecuting.
The
does the
officers
preliminary
the officers all put in
yeah, he keeps his
cases
case
and
notes.
calls for service. They put the notes in, they describe what happened, what they found with their investigation. So every officer does this with a call for service.
Yeah, but the school resource officer, so what does he have, a juvenile a day? I mean, do you see where I'm going with this?
Sometimes more.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Sometimes less.
Sometimes, yeah, sometimes less.
I mean, he's not in every single day, all day long. I mean, I'm not trying to make it sound like that, but you do get on a, I wouldn't say it happens.
So my point is, couldn't he be given a block of time? He's not making an arrest every day. He may at the most have, what, 3 juveniles he's going to deal with?
Say it's very, very unpredictable.
The block that you give him, he'll be arresting
The
someone.
3 additional users are $750, and the annual maintenance is $187. So that's, it's roughly $250.
Ching,
We just
ching,
increased
ching,
that
ching.
last year.
We did.
Yeah.
I'd like to see a list.
Yeah, I think it's management of time.
Yeah.
It's time
You
management.
know, how many people, so who exactly uses it during the day?
It's time management.
The officers,
All the officers,
detectives,
They log on.
supervisors
Okay, so
that check the
they
work.
arrive at the police station, they log on,
Yeah,
then they go,
Supervisors that
and
should
they
be
go
patrolling.
somewhere, and they abandon that license, but they leave it logged on, and they go somewhere, or they go out to lunch, or they might go home for the night, and still be logged in.
I don't think that's a fair statement, but
it
that's,
happens
That was
occasionally.
reported to
but-
us
but
last year.
When there's
I bet it happens a lot.
they plow out of there, they don't wait to get out of any system, but, no, I mean, you have an administrative staff of 5 people, you've got the dispatcher in there, you've got the detectives in there, you've got
Administrative.
patrol. If you have anybody being booked, you have the SRO, you've got somebody in a car accessing it, entering data from the car, I mean, it's very possible to get there, and it does happen. It doesn't happen every single day, but I'm anticipating if we add another patrol position, that, it's probably going to be much more frequent.
But we're replacing a position theoretically, because we had a person
I'll
before.
have to be sold, I'll have to be sold that one. on that.
I think they've managed it for a year. I think they can manage it.
Well, what I'm getting at is, that's really the only new thing there. The other, I'm reallocating some resources from this year in hardware and anticipating spending about half the hardware budget for next year on a surveillance system for the PD. What is remaining over there is just very difficult for them to work with. They need more cameras. They need cameras at the street. They need cameras on the exterior of the building where their ramp is.
all I hear
Can we
is
get
I
a
need,
breakdown
I need.
of the IT?
Yeah.
I know I asked for it, but I want to see how much IT goes to Public Works, how much goes to the departments in the town hall, and how much goes to the PD.
Oh, it's easily
And
done.
specifically, how much goes to licenses
Yeah.
and
Yeah, no,
that,
it's-
and hardware.
That's easily done. Yep, I can do that for you.
Yeah.
The PD is by far the largest easier all the way around.
Why is communications not down more? I thought we replaced this phone system. I thought the phone system was,
Yeah, so the telephone went down quite a bit. The cellular communications are going up. So we,
It's the non-public portion of it.
yeah, there's, it'd probably be best to talk about the PD's IT needs and non-public.
So PD for software, PD for communications, everything's going up. You know, surveillance for the PD, additional licenses for the PD, and now communications for the, under PD.
Well, yeah, the overall budget's going down.
And didn't I just see something that was $2,400 for garage doors?
I asked about that, I didn't get a reply back yet.
They bought them.
Why?
They did?
they did?
PD?
Yeah.
Cancel it.
Didn't it just come in? It was in the,
Down, John's on,
Did they get installed already?
It's not in there?
It's not in the manifest, I don't think.
it's an
They
email
can't- they
from the
can't buy
chief.
that.
Did you see the chief's report? Look at the chief's report.
They can't buy that stuff. Did it get
Where's
installed
the
yet?
chief's
I'm
report?
pretty sure,
I got
That got
Counselor
installed.
Joseph Kenny's.
That's outrageous because I asked specifically for information about it. I didn't get a reply back, and they installed something without a bid, 3 bids.
They have to have 3 bids if it's over $500.
Well, is $2,500 over 500?
Yeah, I'd say so.
If it hasn't been installed, it should be canceled immediately.
If they didn't get 3 bids and go through the process.
I don't have anything on it, so I wouldn't worry.
When did the chief send us his?
That's not information and technology.
No,
So
no, it's not.
I have a question when we get to land use.
But the IT budget's down $1,230, and that includes the additional Google users that we've added, so. And I do see that we may be able to reduce our telephone line again.
Well, we haven't seen the quotes, and we haven't approved replacing them, have we?
I asked specifically what, why, and what's wrong with them.
I hope they didn't order the doors. Do we know if they
that's
have?
November 17th.
And nobody, but he hasn't answered you?
No, he hasn't.
He hasn't answered his,
He didn't reply to my
Email.
email. He never replies to emails.
because he copied me on it, and he hasn't answered it. And that was 2 weeks ago,
Yep.
3 weeks ago. All right.
On the doors?
Yep.
So who's going to contact them?
Same thing happened with the police, the thing from the captain going into the newspaper. We still aren't getting,
Anything he requests, he doesn't answer.
just completely ignores. So,
That's good, that's a fact.
So who's going to call them?
But we have a list of I wants, I wants, I wants.
I don't even get, he doesn't even send me
It
copies of
says,
his reports.
The captain has got 3 quotes to eventually replace the Sally Port doors. Overhead said they should be replaced soon. The quotes are all about $2,400 for both installed.
I've seen garage doors for 30 years. Nothing goes on them.
But it doesn't say he bought them yet.
That's no,
Quote.
November 17th.
That was last Thursday.
You don't have this?
He didn't send it to me.
Like 2 weeks ago, I asked what was wrong with the other ones
Why don't
specifically.
we all have the chief's report?
I don't get it.
You don't have it? Okay. hold on.
I get it. Usually get it.
Oh, I know why. Me, because Gail wasn't here, she usually forwards it. My bad, sorry. Now do Tim. Way over here. Okay, now you all got
Just
it.
because you don't like it, you don't have to spit it across the floor.
I didn't, it was in my hand and it fell out.
Okay, so
Okay, now you all got
are
it.
we ready to move on?
Sure.
So the bottom line with IT is it's down slightly. Land use.
It's gonna be down a lot more, too.
You see the changes with the promotion, and pretty much everything else was the same. I reviewed all this.
Question,
Yeah.
for the professional consulting now? That was supposed to be for, if they need to hire someone to do any tests, and they just don't. And a lot of the work Dari can do now.
No,
You really need that?
yes, because we never know. Then that's not stuff that Dari can do.
Wait a minute, it was 2,000, and then 2,000, and 24.99, and 24.99.
We put it at $24.99 because we were hoping to send the master plan out, and that's the question that's going to be asked to the planning board tomorrow night. We've been working on the update of the master plan since 2002.
Okay.
So the planning board is hopefully going to be making a decision tomorrow night to send it out to Lakes Region Planning.
Will you let us know?
Keep in
Yeah.
mind too that there is that account that we've been keeping on, that one bank account. It's a separate, it was the remnants, even the...
Why haven't we dissolved that?
Well, I'd like to either dissolve it into our main account.
I make a motion we dissolve that account. There shouldn't be a random account.
What is it?
It's been there for 16
It's
years.
just entitled Planning Board. There was once a checkbook for the planning board. Like 10 years ago.
I think it was
It's gotta
to
be more
hold,
than that.
I know who
to
received
hold
it for
escrow
that.
accounts. If they ask somebody to escrow some money.
The planning board should not be holding any accounts. By
And they-
statute,
and
they're not
they have,
enabled.
But we've kept this account intact when we transferred banks twice now. We've kept that account intact. It's very small. It's about $2,400. And every month, I got to go through the bank
I
reconciliation.
make a motion we dissolve that account. Well, I'll make a motion we dissolve that account January 1st. Because if they need that for the master plan, they can use it for the master plan and it's gone. So January 1st, if that account still exists, my motion is to dissolve it.
December 31st.
Okay, December 31st.
I'll second that.
So we're going to dissolve it if?
We're hoping to send the master plan out, to have somebody update it for us. We haven't been able to do that in 14 years.
But if you don't dissolve it, can you pay the master plan with that,
Yeah,
out of that?
yeah. Why not? It's for planning board use.
And then we could take it out of here.
Right, well, and that was the discussion last year of making that one line,
All
I
right,
think, $1.
so that's the motion on the table, right? To dissolve it?
If it's still there by December 31st, dissolve it.
The professional, the account. right?
The account.
So all those in favor?
If the,
If the professional,
Typically, it costs around $4,000 or $5,000 to have your master plan updated. So you have here,
$24.99 in this, in our budget.
2,500, we had to do 24.99, okay.
so that account could pay the difference, whatever it is. There may be some residual left in it. In fact, they probably should use the money in that account first.
Yes,
That would dissolve it.
that would.
And then the residual could come out of this. You'd still have to have money in professional consulting. I don't think you need $2,499, but you'd still have to have money there, because depending on what comes in,
So how much?
I would talk to Dari.
It would be professional consulting.
We wouldn't
We wouldn't
eliminate it, we just reduce it.
reduce it considerably.
Okay,
Okay,
We
Say what?
keep the line item open.
okay.
so we'll
Well,
go
the
back and ask Dari.
problem is, you don't know what accounts, you don't know what cases are going to come in that are going to require it.
All those in favor of that motion?
Yes.
All right,
Aye.
I suppose.
3 ayes and I suppose.
So then,
The rest of this is pretty
the
basic.
rest of it's pretty basic. The code enforcement officer is based on 23 and a half hours a week. That's an average. Oftentimes during the year, he's doing more than that.
Do we have a breakdown of the Conservation Commission's $6,700, since they've only used $1,330 of it?
We do.
Okay.
And I can, in fact, it's in the drive under supporting documents, under the budget, but I'll make sure to send that
Can
out.
we just send it to me?
Yep.
Thank you, I'd like it to.
Now, Catherine, I've held off on ordering the code books because they're waiting for the New Hampshire building, no, it's the state. They've got some advisory council.
What they do is they go by the 2009 editions, and the advisory council updates them.
Right, and they're getting ready to update from 215, to update to 215.
No, well, yes, but so they've taken 2009 and they've updated and updated, and then they'll update again, but the book stays the same.
And they just send out what the update is?
Yeah, the updates are available online. I would talk to Darian Allen. He uses them most, and I'll tell you quite frankly, I, because I've needed it, have copied out most of what I've needed.
Yeah.
I don't use the entire book.
Yeah.
So I have been able to pull out, venting and whatnot that pertains to mine. Al's going to need it much more than I do.
Yep.
So in Health and Human Services, really those are just the salaried items, along with the administrative miscellaneous expenses for each. The welfare director hasn't submitted for her phone, which I think she requests $47 a month. So that expense will be coming, so she'll be probably in the $1,200 range, $1,400 range by the end of the year. The health officer, there needs to purchase.
Under miscellaneous health,
Yep, health officer miscellaneous expense. There's some equipment that needs to be purchased.
where's the cell phone go, though?
That's under the welfare.
Administrative.
Okay, that's gonna go to about
That's
1,200.
gonna go higher, yep, because she
Okay.
hasn't submitted for that.
And now we're back up to the
Now-
health officer miscellaneous expense?
The town could always do what you've done for the public works director, but that then captures all the calls, in and out, you get all the call detail, and one of the things that she liked about this is her own plan, her own phone, and all the calls, we never see any of that, she just submits a monthly amount.
So we pay for activity that we have no idea.
Right.
I'll have to think about that one.
Now, you do,
It's interesting.
The use of the phone if someone needs to contact her.
Right.
Does it matter whether it's
You're
her
paying
phone
for
or
that.
our phone?
Yeah, you're paying for that also,
well, and you
with
do
something like
with me.
yours.
Yeah, I was gonna say, mine
Right.
is $20 a month.
See my phone?
Yeah.
I think it,
The town does not get billed if I choose to have people call this number. I don't bill the town. It doesn't cost me any more to have this phone if I tell people out there, here's my cell phone number, call me anytime. It doesn't
But-
cost me any extra.
that's what the difference, he beat me. The difference is she's compelled to answer that all the time if we're paying for it. But if we're splitting it, I would think a stipend towards it would be more appropriate, because $47 a month is a nice plan with data and all kinds of stuff.
48,
That's more than what it would take to answer phone calls. You can get flip phone for $20 a month.
Well, see,
That's what I charge $20. Sometimes it's really heavy, this stuff, where I've got to talk to a vendor, while I'm, in a place where there's no phone, or I'm having to use it for data to supply.
my problem with the welfare director's phone is when you call it, she has, 2 hours to call you back?
I don't think there's any standard.
To call back.
Oh, no, she gives a time limit, I'll call you back within. There is a time.
Really?
Oh, yeah, there is a time. I know that when I called one time, well, I won't go into those details. So my point is, it's like when I was on my trip, I called my phone. Got on my phone messages. Didn't cost me any extra. So,
To my knowledge, she doesn't use the voicemail system here at the town hall. I'll call,
it's real handy.
I know, but anyone calling in is directed to call the cell phone.
If we had to prove the 2-hour window, we'd have to get a copy of her phone bill.
Let's just,
So anyway, well, that
Might be
was,
something to be more,
Now we're taking on $600.
The general assistance, it all adds up.
that adds up.
Every bit of it
yeah.
adds up. General assistance, we've dropped that.
yep. And,
Looks like we could take another 5,000 off of it.
yeah, and I talked to her about that, and I still think it might be doable, but of course, she's concerned about dropping it too low. But I sort of looked at the whole budget, hearing Joe in the back of my head saying, why are we budgeting more money than we need?
Yeah, exactly.
But then, that's something that's a total unknown. You get somebody who comes in that has a prescription need, it can be very expensive, so.
And that's why we carry a fund balance. For emergencies.
Got to keep taxes.
But you look at what was actually spent over the years, and I think we can drop that by at least 5,000.
Is that what the board would like to do, make it 30?
But your 3-year average was 48, oh, that's a budget average.
Oh,
Expensive.
I've been
Yeah,
fighting for
but-
years to get it to 30.
Yeah, those first two columns, those are a 3-year average of 13, 14, and 15. And I tried to make them stand out so they didn't look like a prior year by bolding and italicizing. So we'll go ahead and bring that down to 30.
You only get 2 that said yes.
You got
So
me.
no?
I'd like to talk to the department head first,
Well,
myself.
I mean, you're still going to.
It is what it is. You see what is
I'll
spent.
readdress it.
Well, I don't know if she
I'll readdress
has
it with her.
anticipated,
She
What's
did last
coming up?
year, when she didn't want us to drop it to 35.
well, there's 3 of you here. If you want to move it down to 30, then move it down to 30.
I'll bring it up to her
Up to you.
again and
What do you
tell
think,
her
Peter?
it's
You're-
something.
Looking at the numbers, 30 looks good.
I guess it goes down to
We got the
30.
lowest.
I mean, the bottom line's going to be the budget committee anyway.
All right,
Right.
move it down to 30. That's consensus.
In the Public Works, so here you have full year representation of your cruise wages. And in those cruise wages, there is a line in the wages tab, or on the wages page, which you'll see, which has unallocated increase. So in other words, if you were to, in fact, maybe now's a good time to go to the wages page, which is going to be page 13, I think. It is page 13. So if you go to page 13, and about a little more than halfway down the page on the left, you'll see Public Works, and then you'll see the employees, their positions. Then the third column is their wage, their current wage. And if you go down 3 lines from the bottom, you'll see there's something that says salary adjustments for the crew, and there's an amount there. So that's unallocated to any one individual, and that's outside of merit, just sort of anticipating that,
The 90-day review,
right, there would be a change.
right.
So what I'm trying to show here is that $216,298 of cruise wages includes not only the existing wages, but also an allowance for an increase. So, going back to the Public Works budget on page 6, and I've gone through this with Brock. So we have compensated absences. Now, this is really only pertains to 2 employees that could possibly take advantage of it, and sometimes they do and sometimes they don't. It's just really dependent. But that's the paid time off buyout. Part-time wages has been reduced to $1, and then you see all the FICA, Medicare, life, disability, retirement.
Why do we keep part-time open? By putting $1 in it.
If for some reason,
The conversation was that if we hired the full-time, that we would not be using part-time.
In the event that we have somebody or 1 or 2 that are out with surgery, like we did a year and a half ago, and we needed to hire somebody seasonal for a few weeks to cover, that line would need to be kept open, I would think.
or if you have some major event where you have to hire additional help for something, it is on.
You mean an emergency?
Yeah.
Which is why we have fund balance.
Yeah, but you need the line
You'd
open.
wanna-
enough.
Not if it's an emergency.
Well, but you'd want to show it somewhere, so where would you show your expense? You wouldn't want to inflate, showing that you overspent.
No, but you could recreate the line, emergency, part-time, or whatever. I'm just saying, one of the deal breakers for me was that there would be no more part-timers.
Which is,
Well, for
which is,
$1, what are you getting?
which
Other
is,
than
It's a
line.
bottom line budget.
But
So
that's-
if that line has $1 in it,
Mm-hmm.
then I could be outvoted in hiring, oh, we need part-time summer help.
Couldn't you be outvoted on bringing the line back on a future budget too?
No, if town meeting votes 0, there would have to be an emergency.
No, but then we create another,
Okay. I get it. So, in other words, if it's a zero line, then
It would have to be a true emergency.
I would think it would have to be true emergency even to
Nope.
put anything in
Nope,
there at all.
not if you have $1 in it.
You know, who among us would do that, Catherine?
Somebody might decide they want to hire a part-timer to weed.
I just don't get what,
Not me.
I think we're all in agreement with you.
Yeah.
I just think in accounting-wise.
Still
we should
think of
keep
those
it open.
supervisors that are supposed to be patrolling.
well, why don't I put a question mark next to that and re-look at that. So all the other items there
Yep.
are generated off the wages. Then you come down, office supplies, not expected to be a lot. We'd done away with postage, freight, and printing in prior years. Equipment maintenance and repair. Brock felt as though this really needed to be raised up. He's felt that there's a number of things that aren't up to the level that they feel they should be down there, and that they're going to have to spend a little more money in that area. So I don't have the specifics.
He needs specifics for me if he wants to raise that. We've been buying.
Did
Well,
we put money in, didn't we put money in to buy some stuff last year?
This is to fix
this is
some of the stuff
equipment maintenance and repair, yeah. So there's a lot that's getting repaired
right now.
right now, and to a different standard than,
Okay, but that's this year's budget, so I'd like to have an explanation of
well, that's what,
why is everything in such deplorable state?
and that's a good question for him. But in any case, he made the request to bring it up higher.
Can you find out what that is, Joyce?
Point one specifics.
Yeah.
Equipment maintenance and
What comes
repair,
out to
what
be-
specifics are driving the extra money?
Make a list so that the bottom line on the list comes out to be 11,500 on guesstimates,
Yep.
itemized.
Yeah, I don't have a note here for it.
Looks like he's
Well, you just said he didn't tell you.
Right, yeah, and I just...
pretty
looked to make
confident there
sure.
won't be anything different next year for advertising.
Right. Well, equipment supplies he reduced a little bit. The advertising, he's hoping that it's just going to be, business as usual with his existing crew. Equipment rental, this is primarily the lift and winter cleanup things. He might also have to rent some equipment. He actually had this hire at one point, anticipating he might have to rent some equipment for ditching, but he ended up increasing his subcontractor line instead. The miscellaneous expenses,
Back up.
yes.
Equipment rental is,
He hasn't increased his subcontractor line, he's decreased it.
Yeah, I'm going to get down there, and I'll explain why.
Okay.
Because I can explain the 27 things. But so equipment rental was the same. Miscellaneous expenses, he wants a little more money there because he wants to have things for the guys, that you really create more of a bonding environment, and they're all new working together. So
I don't like miscellaneous.
Pizza party?
electricity we discussed, he said...
let's back up here. I mean, that's a lot more money there for miscellaneous expense for bonding experience.
Doubling.
Well,
He's got,
Doubling. Well,
maybe
not,
bonding experience.
he's not bonding.
$1,100 is what was, allocated last year. It's not really doubling. We didn't have a director for a lot of months, so you can't really gauge on 772 this year.
You got 1169.
Well, we did use some of that money.
1169 was previous year,
That was our
remember?
choice.
I don't, I see that line staying at $1,000.
In electricity, we're now doing a lot more welding, according to them down there, and using a lot of other things. They're using more electricity, and he felt as though we really need to increase that.
Okay. Doing a lot more welding, so that tells me there's a whole lot of metal things that are broken they've got to repair, or they plan on breaking a whole lot of metal things. Because we're not
Down over
yeah, but
here.
insurance should pay for that. We're not a fabrication shop, so hopefully they're not making cool stuff out of leftover metal.
They just, remember, they just made,
They did once.
fixed the 1 ton.
Yep.
And then they fixed they made a piece on the loader.
Yep.
Which was all welding.
And then they
had
did
it-
that because they wanted to, because...
And they welded a couple of pieces to the trackless. And then there was something else that he welded.
Yeah, so that's
Essentially, what
not
he was saying is,
$500 worth of electricity,
The previous
or
year.
$300 worth of, it's not $300 worth of electricity.
The year before, we put all new blades on the trucks
yeah,
and the
our
plows.
our
It's
elec-
real-
our electric price went up from
Oh, did it?
15 to 16, but we're looking at lower prices now once we renew again, which will be in the fall of next year. But that was his rationale, so I'll leave it for him to explain that further. Heat, we were good on. Building supplies, he felt as though this is another area that's really not been well addressed.
Is it gas heat?
It's gas heat, yes. Yeah.
What specifically is building supplies for him?
So, one of the items there
Do you have
was the door. He's got to replace the bottom panel of one of the doors,
Why?
the large overhead doors.
Why? Broken,
Yes, yes.
rotted, somebody ran into it,
Wasn't up all the
Not
way.
functioning? You can't get out of the garage now?
Replacement.
can't weld it?
Electricity.
No, because it'll be too much electricity.
Probably aluminum.
Not much better
So-
wood burning kit.
I'm just,
Most likely it could hit.
I'm just passing along.
Tell him he better come in, he better bring us some details next
Bottom
week.
panel of one of the doors, and these are big doors, so.
I guess he has some explaining to do.
Yeah, he
because
does.
I am not willing,
That's
I'm
right.
not willing to go up on that 5,000.
Well, no, that's the.
Building supplies.
I mean, 2,000.
Yeah.
I'm willing
What's
to...
$600?
I really want to keep that at 1,400. That's me personally, just me.
So water, we're good on. Building repairs, felt could keep that the same. Uniforms,
We just uniformed them.
well,
I mean, they've got more uniforms than they had before. They got sweatshirts and,
well.
so what the heck?
Sleeve, short sleeve.
He would like to see the town up the boot allowance from what it currently is, because they all wear this one type of boot.
We just...
We just did that.
No, I know you did.
Okay.
Yeah.
How much is that one type of boot?
$250.
What?
No.
What are they wearing?
Chippewas?
Red Wings.
No, it's
Urban Survivors?
It's a logger boot.
the
he said.
Chippewa lager, I think.
They don't need to wear logging boots. That's crazy.
Well, I'm just
Listen,
passing along.
not everybody, because there's two there that swear by these other two boots that are $99
That's
a
right.
piece.
That's right, and I brought that up to him, and I.
So that's not everybody.
That's right.
No, I don't agree with
I
that.
mentioned
He's
that.
got some explaining to do on this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, and this is his first cut at it,
He's
so.
testing
keep
you
that-
out, Pat.
keep
He's
that in
seeing
mind.
what he can get and what he
The
can't.
other thing that he wants to pay for out of there is jeans out of that line. They would prefer to wear blue jeans.
He's already been told out of there to get the jeans instead of the other pants. It's a uniform company. And the jeans aren't any more expensive than, as a matter of fact, they're less expensive than they are with the, what do you call them? I call them chinos.
Chinos,
Right,
Than they are.
all right.
So,
although they do look much more professional
from
than
the
chinos.
Universe Company, I already checked that out.
Yeah. Okay. Gas
Unless,
and
of course, the
diesel,
size varies the price.
gas and diesel.
I didn't mean that to be
Yeah, why are
silly.
we,
No, I just,
Okay.
I didn't take it there.
so gas, diesel during the summer, I guess, if there's a full crew, they're running all the trucks, that's why our fuel is so much less this year?
To cut down on 2,000 to that, why are we doing that?
Because he felt, we looked at the annual usage in terms of diesel gallons.
But you
and
can't do that because we
gasoline.
didn't run to,
We didn't have any winter.
No, going back to 2013, we looked at each year, looking at what the usage was. So we had.
And price
we had a
has gone
big
down
snow-
huge.
Price has gone down a great deal. Doesn't mean it's always gonna be down, but.
It's like a third let.
But he felt as though that was, that was a reasonable number.
That doesn't make any sense, because if you look at the year before, 2015, when we actually had snowstorms, and we actually used 17,000, and he wants to bring it down to 14,000?
Right, but the price per gallon then was significantly higher.
Almost $2 more a gallon.
Yeah.
$1.50, $2 more?
So, I mean, we were looking at, I showed him, because, and you guys get the fuel usage, and you've got a, 3.5-year fuel usage chart for each of the PD, the highway diesel, highway gasoline, and then town hall. And, I mean, that's what he came up with, but, and I think this is part of his being a new public works director. I mean, he looked at this and he said, gee, I would have spent that in a month in his other towns, because they had so many more roads. So, the 7,600 during the wintertime. But, it's just, these are just the numbers that he wanted to adjust. Radio communications was the same.
We're not spending anything,
We're
are
not
we?
spending it, what
Yeah.
are we doing?
Because, and this was his take on it, that if we haven't spent any money on these radios in the past, they're probably going to be more expensive to reprogram if we need to reprogram them.
And that's a capital improvement fund.
Well, through OME, we don't really have anything.
If we, what's the cost of replacing all the radios in those trucks?
Oh, that would be capital.
Yeah, capital
Yeah.
improvement.
Why
I mean,
would you
it's
do
a
it?
lot, there's only, how many radios do they have? So what would it cost to replace that system? Rather than raising and appropriating $1,000 every year that we don't use, and it just goes into the,
Okay, if one radio breaks, it's gonna be like $800.
Yep.
Where would we get that money from?
yes, anywhere else in the budget. I mean, it's a bottom line budget, hello? It's a bottom line budget, we seem to forget this. I wish I had never suggested itemizing the budget.
We can go back to.
I need to
One
know
page.
what makes up a budget, every single part of it, not just, well, we spent this much last year, so why don't we just put this
Right.
much in this year?
Well,
And
So my problem is, why don't we have a plan for these radios? How do we know how old they are?
They're
How do you
old,
plan for them to break?
they're old, they're
You know?
at least 10
here's
years
another
old, and I know
consideration
that.
for you. So,
I mean,
so
$1,000 doesn't sound like it's gonna do it.
He did ask for Bluetooth devices for all of their vehicles, and I got him two for the one for the car, one for one of the trucks, or two for the trucks, however they were going to divvy them up. And because he said that most of the time, they call him using their cell phone, and he
Right.
calls them using his cell phone.
Right,
So his cell phone is paid for by the town completely,
Right.
along with the plan as well as the phone itself. And,
So they don't even use these radios.
well,
the radios is communication between the
During
garage,
storms.
the garage.
Why can't they use it when it's not
And
storming?
the
Car to
PD
car.
the PD can also raise them on these radios. as
That's
well.
correct.
And what if they're not in the trucks with those radios?
Right.
It
Well,
comes in the-
I mean, I think what a
You
point
can
is,
put a speaker under the hood and flip a switch so that the radio now, you'll hear it outside the vehicle.
And then also,
PA.
do you want to have Bluetooth in all the big trucks to where they're driving and talking on the phone?
No.
Well, no, I'm just
I think it's
saying,
distracting, you gotta turn it on and off. We have a policy on cell phones, right? That
I
you're
don't
not
think
supposed
so.
to be using cell phones during work, period.
except we issue cell phones to all the PD to,
Those are for specific reasons, sometimes there's covert communications and stuff like that. But any employee should not be doing personal business except on their break time, and that.
Have you
That's what it is.
you ever watched him on Details?
Have you ever watched them on detail?
Oh, yeah. But, you know...
So my
we
point
just-
is-
We just got after that whole thing and on cell
My point
phone
is,
use, and
why
now
do
we're
we have
providing them with a way so they can use
radios
it.
and cellular phones?
So that,
If we have radios in all the trucks, why aren't they communicating through those radios? Why do we have to buy them Bluetooth?
well, we haven't bought the Bluetooth, only for the smaller trucks.
Okay, but why did we buy them for the smaller trucks if they have radios?
Because the...
They can't communicate through the radios?
Because
The director.
director needs one.
Right.
Why?
We
Isn't
don't
he-
have radios to get in touch with the director if we need to get in touch with them,
Joyce
or
needs
Joyce
to
needs to
call
get in touch with them, then she calls the cell
Subcontractors.
phone, hey, listen, there's
I'll
a
call 286-4721, leave a message and get a call back.
there's a tree down up on High Street, we gotta
So
call
call
them.
on the radio.
We don't have a radio to call on them.
But you only need one Bluetooth if you're only contacting one person,
Yeah.
right? You have I have one on my visor, clip it right on the visor, go in a different
That's what
car.
these are. There's-
But I can't see buying every car, or more than just the director's car, a Bluetooth device, because first, they are distracting, whether you like them or not, because you still have
They're
to
not
figure
true
to turn them on,
hands-off.
and you have to answer the phone and everything.
Hands-free, rather.
And you do have to get distracted from it, and I think it's a violation of our policy on
Well, the PD has them in all their vehicles, and
to get everything.
and we have two for highway, and they can move them as need be. And the only reason I brought that up was to say that this communications line, how do you connect with them is really how I see this line. So if you're not using it on radio, maybe you're using it on some other type of equipment, hold them or monitor.
To me, it's either radios or cellular phones.
Well, on their radios, though, they can listen to all the other channels, so they can hear what DOT's doing.
What do they care what DOT's doing?
Dispatch is doing. I mean, it's just, it's like just being...
But it's not necessary. They should only be concerned with what's going on in the town of Tilton.
DOT works in the town of
DOT does Route 3, 132, but what does that matter?
School Street.
What does that matter? What DOT is doing on DOT's roads?
Come
I'm
on.
just saying, when they're out and about working, they're in touch with, they can hear what's going on in the rest of the community.
I think they need the radio.
I don't have a radio, how can they hear what's going on in the rest of the community? I'm sorry, I think it's one or the other, it's a waste of
I
money.
put some question marks next to this line as well. Equipment purchases, we keep $1 in there, just keep that open. If we do have equipment purchases, we would show it here so that taxpayers can see how their money was spent, and it's not, shelter.
With that dollar there, if he comes up with equipment purchase, for me, the answer's gonna be no.
Well, he can discuss his longer-range plans for the vehicles. There's nothing imminent there, but the 90 truck he wants to replace at some point soon.
Where's the 10-year plan? Has he even looked at that yet?
I believe so. I believe we have gone through it.
Why did we increase street lighting?
I liked it better when you said lightning.
Yeah. I was praying for a bolt to strike some of
Also,
them.
if I could just, before we get there, the training, he's got a lot of new people, that's why he
Mm-hmm.
had the training. Winter salt and sand, felt he could bring that down.
Mm-hmm.
Road materials, he felt we needed more money in road materials, and part of this is taking out that storm drains line and allocating half of it to road materials and half of it to subcontractors. The reason why subcontractors went down is because in the 27,000, that's where Magoon was budgeted for the tree work on Manville Road.
12 grand.
That was 12 grand, right. So, buildings and grounds maintenance, self-explanatory road construction. So he wants to zero out the storm drains and eliminate that line. Sidewalk construction, he knows, is from the capital reserve fund. Safety equipment was the same. So with street lighting, that was a me increase because of the price and usage that we have.
Has it gone up?
It has gone up. To me, it appears like we will probably overspend that line, that 33,000.
Then I guess we better get busy eliminating some.
I would say so.
Or different, they just charge us by the pole.
Okay, sanitation is what it is because we're
Yeah.
dealing with that.
Just keep in mind that what I had
Yep.
explained for the budget in there.
Yeah, we did.
Is the street lighting charged by the pole, or by the unit, or by consumption?
The light.
The poles
The
make...
type of light
well,
on the pole.
The type
all
of
the
light,
poles-
so much a day or a month?
Well, they give us the kilowatt hours for that grouping. So that grouping is all under basically one giant meter, if you will. So we get, you see what the usage is, and that's what we pay based on. So in police, you see the wages up at the top. The officers' wages in this iteration includes a replacement for the former prosecutor in patrol, at a patrol level. And then it also includes the attorney prosecutor position for the full year. And it does not include one of the supervisory positions that was budgeted last year. So when that all nets out, you can see there's a reduction of $2,000 there. And there's a page that covers all the wages for the PD where you can see all that. Retirement is going up for Group 2. Retirement's growing up for Group 1 as well, but not nearly as dramatically.
Has anybody taken advantage of compensated absences?
It looks like we're going to this year, because where they have, if you've looked at the payroll, they're using paid time off for their weeks and not using comp time, not burning up their comp time, which is concerning, because I think it should almost be required to use comp time first and then paid time off
They are.
after that. Well, and...
After November, after the cutoff date, they have to use their comp time.
Well, that's something that we'll probably have to address with the chief. In the payroll, wherever it is, there are several that have comp time available to use, but use paid time off instead. Which to me means that at some point, we're going to be paying out that comp time balance at the end of the year if they have not already used it. Now, they may well have a plan to use it before then, and just didn't have to use it on this particular pay run. So it's really hard to know.
Can you ask the chief to address that?
Yeah, what I can tell you is that...
I will.
That
Either way.
there's an employee whose last check was this week,
Right.
who's leaving our employment, who we had to pay out 38 hours
Right.
of comp time.
Holy shit.
So the merit is the same, the support staff, that includes, that's dispatch as well as the administrative assistant. Part-time wages, the chief felt he could reduce that significantly.
Yeah, he doesn't have any part-timers.
Well, he has one that works very
Yeah.
regularly.
One.
very regularly, yeah. And it's kind of a pet peeve. Sometimes we have a lot of people on the roster, but we only have one or two people that are working.
I'm addressing that.
So FICA, Medicare, life, disability, retirement, health insurance, death, retirement group 2, these are all generated from wages tab. Then we get to office supplies, so he felt that that could be reduced. Dues were going up primarily because of the attorney prosecutor.
Okay.
Postage, pretty much the same. Printing, they've got to order these citations that when they write out a ticket and put it on a windshield there. It's about a 3-year supply, but they're pretty expensive. It's about $2,000 for that, and that's one of the things that the chief and I were looking at, could we possibly work it into this year as opposed to budgeting it?
What do they use now?
They're
last
working
of their
off the
supply.
remaining stock, but they're getting low.
When was the last time they purchased these?
3 years ago.
I think it was about 3 years ago, yeah.
It's a 3-year supply, so about every 3 years we buy more.
I heard supply, I didn't hear
You could
the,
have them cut back on
I
using
didn't
it,
hear the time.
save money.
Those are the parking tickets, they've cut back on using them.
I was all the way into culture,
They're expensive.
so it was my fault.
So, other items here, you can see he's made minor adjustments to equipment repair, miscellaneous expenses was the same, electricity, heat, all the same, water, sewer. Building maintenance, he reduced some because they've done an awful lot already. The janitorial service, that includes more floor stripping because we have more of the tile to strip. So that's why that's up some,
You mean removing the,
the wax.
Yeah.
Yeah, and redoing that.
Is it the same company that does town hall?
Yes, yeah. Let's see, all this is pretty much the same.
those training materials going up?
Probably the attorney.
That is the attorney prosecutor, yeah.
So,
And then,
I understand dues, but training materials? Does the prosecutor need a gun, bullets? What are training materials?
training materials, different law books, things like that. That
Okay.
Put under there.
Codes, yeah.
Okay.
Do you, now, vehicle maintenance, why are we keeping that the same when now we know for sure that not only do we have a mechanic that's taking care of the vehicles, but now we're also, he goes into
Inspection.
school for inspections as well. So that's $49 for each inspection each year that we just spent a boatload of money in September for. Why are we going the same there? Can't we take some of that away now?
How old is our fleet? We have a lot of cars.
Well, we do have a lot of cars. The majority of this
Not
vehicle.
enough to, according to them.
The majority
never
of this
gonna be
vehicle
enough.
maintenance is, let's see, probably 4 that are still under an extended warranty. But this vehicle maintenance, I think, is spent primarily in the Crown Vic model line. Not entirely, but.
I think a lot was going to AutoServe, and, I mean,
But they still do.
$1,000
for ridiculous, like oil changes that turn into
I think
$2,500.
we're doing more complete service on the
Yeah.
cars now. And this does bring up one of the
So can we
items.
cut it by 3,000?
I would think that would be too much.
I don't know.
I'd cut-
I kind
Well,
of,
you
down
got
to
10
10,000.
vehicles at $49 a piece for just inspection.
Well,
And that
also,
also drums up
Plus you have all the oil changes that are being done up there, that are now being done down
At
here.
$80 or $60 a piece.
Right, and a lot of the expense here on the $12,297 was because we had to send out, because we didn't have a mechanic on board for a few months.
We were
So-
having tires changed, 4 tires, twice a
Right,
year.
And now
You'll
we
be
got a
doing that
tire
in-house.
We
machine.
also replaced an engine.
So let's
you
do
know,
it,
all that
10.5.
work.
Are you saying
If you
10.5?
go to 15, we spent
10.5?
16.8.
10,000 straight.
I'm saying 10.5.
Well, you
Go with
you
that.
spent 16.8 2 years ago, when we had Arthur full-time.
Yeah, I think,
Yeah, and
So,
we didn't have inspections, we didn't have a tire
so that's
machine.
500.
And we had
I
more
mean-
Crown Vics.
well,
Yeah, right, and we had a lot more.
well, something to
contact.
keep in mind is somewhere, I think it's, and I think Brock was going to talk to the board about this at some point. The code reader that we have, our mechanic also has a code reader, and they're both very expensive items. His is about twice the cost of the one that we
Right.
bought. But either way, you have to pay for all the updates for them. And
That's
the
right.
updates are about $2,500, so that it's current with whatever model and part and all that kind of stuff. Otherwise, they become, not as effective, I guess. So that's something that Brock was going to come and discuss with you at some point. I don't think that was budgeted in this line, but that's just something to keep in mind as you're thinking about the
Well,
costs.
wouldn't that be under communications? I'm not communications,
Under
under,
Public Works?
no, under Public Works, but under, yeah, it would be under Public Works.
Equipment.
Right.
Equipment.
Right, exactly. But I'm just trying to say, in the grand scheme of things, as you're talking about the things that you're going to save money on, that we're going to be doing in-house, there are also some costs that we're going to have to incur too.
But that's not in here this year.
Which,
Is in highway right now, did he put in that
I think he
The
was planning,
$2,500?
he was planning to come in and talk to the board.
afterwards?
16.
And you're now bringing that up after we went through highway already?
Well,
Oh.
he was going to come in and talk to the board about this, so I'm not trying to
He just
steal
let
his
the cat
thunder.
out of the bag, apparently.
Well, no, I mean, it's just, if we could do it in 16, it would make sense to do it in 16. But right now, I can't see
It's
exactly what
next
we're going
week's
to do.
wish.
So, anyway, moving along, radio communications, he wanted to increase this because we've been having trouble keeping these things up and running, and, they're using the portables, they have to be reprogrammed.
I thought we just had an issue with radios a couple of years ago and
Right,
updated everything.
And we updated everything.
But
And we spent a lot of money doing it.
Anytime there's a problem with one of these things, it goes to OME, and it's not inexpensive.
Then why can't we bring it someplace else other than OME?
That's not going to change the cost of the device and the
I think it-
parts and the labor.
It might.
What are you going to do, drive it to Massachusetts?
No, overnight it.
Well,
It's a handheld radio, stick in the box, overnight it.
so he felt because we so severely overspent the line this year that he needed to request more. The
Did
weapons-
any of that come into the new vehicle cost?
No.
Outfitting
No, not at all.
or changing over to them?
No, not at all. The weapons expense, that is the additional ammunition.
Did we get a breakdown that I asked for?
I wasn't aware that you asked for a breakdown.
I did too.
A breakdown of,
Yeah, you asked the chief on Thursday.
Yep, I wanted to
I asked-
know.
How many bullets per person?
I asked Chris the week before, so that when it comes up to the budget committee, I can see where he gets
250
his
rounds
numbers.
per person.
No, I
To
wanted to know the
qualify.
total rounds,
I know. And
what
then-
this represents. I don't care per person. I don't care per person. I want to
I
know.
wasn't talking to you.
Yeah, if I could have,
Okay, I asked the question, let me finish my question. You guys do this to me all the time. I asked,
know what
where's
you
my
do to
breakdown?
us.
Well, I hope I drove you crazy. It's
Yeah,
pay-
you're
It's
getting
called
close.
payback. So, my question to him was,
Talk about cement.
what total rounds does this represent? And what type of rounds are these?
9
That's what I
millimeter.
asked him. I don't think I asked him anything else.
No, right, so you want to hear from him.
I want to know if these are full metal jackets, hollow
I don't know.
points.
The-
Chris,
I want to
my
know how many grains the bullets are that he's buying.
Chris has a list
Hollow tip?
of that, and he was supposed to email it before.
Yeah, I
he
want to
left.
know. Hollow points are more than
haven't gotten
twice a full metal
The
jacket.
training rounds are not
No.
hollow point.
They're the full metal.
That's correct. They're full metal.
Okay, and what grain are
The
they?
chief answered that last week.
I didn't hear him.
Yes, he did answer.
Oh, no, I heard him say that, but I didn't hear the rest of my question.
Okay.
So,
It doesn't surprise me that she hasn't heard.
Are you trying to tell me you got a half-ass answer?
Yeah?
Oh,
You got it,
all
you
right,
got it.
so investigative expense,
so next week when he comes in, we need those answers. So next
Well,
week,
no, next 2 weeks.
2
Week
weeks.
from Thursday.
so December 1st.
Next week.
Brock comes in, and when the chief come in to talk about the budget, they need these answers for us.
They can send a report.
I will send
Ahead of
them a
time.
list, and
Okay.
I will share a copy of the board.
All right, and-
Investigative expense includes an item that should be discussed in non-public.
well, we're going in non-public right after this.
But we haven't
because I wanna
increased
hear
it.
this. Yes,
No, but it,
Was there a wish part of it?
well, he may already have talked to you about it in non-public, it's very
I
possible.
believe so.
Okay. So, the drug investigation, that is some money that they have to leave out, because if they have to have cash to go and go drug buy, that's where that comes from. They've had sufficient resources in prior years that they haven't had to tap that, because they've had the drug forfeiture monies, pardon me. The range expense, let's see, equipment purchases is limited here to the tire deflation strips and radar or LiDAR.
how much are tire deflation strips?
I don't know the exact breakdown, but I was told for the two of those, $2,350 between the radar and tire deflation. And I think the last radar we got was $1,300, and that was a special deal that we received.
So we're gonna pay $1,000 for tire deflation strips?
We went through that and determined that they were unsafe, and we didn't want the officers standing on the side of the road throwing a...
I
Thing out.
mentioned
You can
that
swerve.
to the
We've
chief.
been through that a
and
couple times.
He had a different view that I think when you get to talk to him about the budget, he'll,
There's gonna be an awful lot of explaining to do to get me to convinced that the officers are gonna use tire deflation.
now, the good news in equipment purchases is that we will have enough money to pay for 3 lease payments out of the detail fund, because they've been running about 100 hours a week
Okay.
on average of detail work, and boy, when I see one of the newer officers doing detail, that is a cha-ching for the town.
So here's my question.
Yeah, but we're paying it on the other end.
Are you telling me that they're not going to want a new car next year?
Oh, no, I am.
So where's that coming from? Because it's not coming out of
Detail
equipment
fund,
purchases.
Right there,
18A.
look under C.
I see it,
So,
but I don't believe it.
well, I'm anticipating, so,
That's a heck of a lot of details.
well, they have really been burning it up, I'm telling you. and it's
Okay,
not
but the
like they
rate
stop.
that the town actually collects from those details is not really that much.
It depends. It depends on the type of the officer.
yeah,
If
right.
you have a part-timer doing it, or if you have,
Oh, I know, the rate is a little,
well, we're not paying retirement on part-time officer or newer officers, and that's 30% right there of the wage. So that's pretty significant. So there's some good money going into that fund. The last time I looked at it, we had 37,000 in there, and that was after accounting for an issue I'm going to have to bring to the board at some point about some old AR that was miscategorized, so that we got to clean up that. That's even taken into account that allowance for doubtful accounts. So in any event, we'll have our last payment on 15A, our second payment on 17A, and then we'd have enough money to pay 18A out of that, which, that card doesn't exist yet. So,
But that's based on 3-year financing, or is it a leasing?
3-year financing.
Okay. Can I just hold 1 second? Even though there's signatures on that, we're holding out the payment, because that needs to be voted on.
Yes.
Thank you.
So then, just the last items here, the legal expense is probably the big one, and the chief felt because the contract will be largely done, that we don't need as much money in the legal line for next year.
Don't need much at all, because we have
Who
should be
knows?
saving some attorney fees, right?
Right.
Because we have
So-
an in-house attorney.
You could have more.
Should go down more, maybe to 5.
That's what I think.
You know, won't be consulting us.
Is that a...
Did we not spend any legal expense in 2015 for them?
3,059.
No, the year
No, in
before.
15.
The year before.
That's correct, yeah.
Right,
5?
What do you want to cut it?
5?
To 5.
to 5.
Sure. Peter?
Sure.
So, moving on to culture and recreation, the park commission expenses is the one that we really don't know much about.
Don't give them anything then.
So, there's about, depending upon
Selectmen will have to pay for it.
well, depending upon how you look at it, I mean,
Giddy, right?
the big question to me is, can the Parks Commission and Public Works work out something where, with our additional capacity, through having an additional person, we're able to handle buildings and grounds in the summertime and maintain Riverfront Park?
Public Works Director has indicated he does not want to have any piece of Riverfront Park
If
next
we do
year.
that, then we take the autonomy back, and then it's under us.
Well, and I'm just
And then
bringing it
everything
forward.
is-
I mean, in many towns, usually Public Works does this, so...
I have no problem doing that, but then we shouldn't have a commission over here alone, if that's,
You think the
Right.
Parks Commission only oversees the mowing and weeding of Riverfront Park? I mean, I don't mind.
we may on occasion do a Christmas
Big one less
parade.
meeting a month.
No.
I was gonna say, it'd be one less meeting a month, but you guys, if
Let's
the
go
Board of
for it.
Selectmen
They got
wants
cool
to
animals.
organize the Christmas
We
parade,
didn't say organize, we said put it back under the town of Tilton.
that's what you just said. You're gonna do away with the Park Commission, that means the Selectmen
I
can
didn't
do
say do
all
away
that.
with the Parks Commission.
Under the
By
umbrella.
no way. Put it back to where it was.
Well, I simply wanted to point out that in that budget line is
Get rid
money
of that meeting.
for Riverfront Park, as well as Civil War.
You're not one of those that you're gonna take the money out of this pocket and put it into that pocket if you have highway do that mowing. 'cause-
I've talked to the
No.
Public Works Director about what he feels they would like to do with the parks. He doesn't want to make too many changes his first year. I haven't suggested it to the park commissioners, but I have suggested to the Public Works Director, but perhaps he could do spring and fall cleanups in the park. I haven't heard back how he feels about that.
I can tell you the budget committee's not going to pay for the parks to be mowed.
Budget committee want to mow them?
No, we've got 2 zero-turn mowers, 3 push mowers, tons of weed whackers, and 5 employees down at the Public Works Department, and they don't have the capabilities to mow lawns.
Who's going to weed the park?
They can go up there and weed them too.
They've never been able to.
Different people.
Wow, I think you ought to take the maintenance of the parks back to the budget, to the Board of Selectmen.
And clearly, the Parks Commission needs to discuss this, and I just wanted to point out that the $39,758 is not their request, it's just simply last year's request brought over because they haven't been able to get the new budget year. Let's see, then, what was that latest thing?
Why was the park maintenance on the island, which is the next item, $3,574?
What?
It
Because,
says park maintenance island, the
We
actual,
did- Yeah,
because of the trees?
we did the trees.
and also, we pay for the electricity is paid out of there, the porta potties are paid out of there, you know, for the summer concerts.
So we still only have $1,500?
For half of the trees.
They did, yep. 1,500 should be sufficient on a normal year.
Okay.
And then outside agencies is the last page here. Oh, yes.
Home Memorial Library, we've gotten their budget?
Yes. But keep in mind, historically, they do their budget, and then when the board meets, then they go over it and drop it a little bit again.
In fact, they dropped it already once
Yeah.
from what they originally submitted.
I think we do.
Yeah, we did.
And they aren't changing over to any.
Okay, outside agencies.
So outside agencies, let's see here. Believe, there's only a few changes here. The National Association, or New Hampshire Association of the Blind.
Whoa, back up. Community Action Transit, why did that go from 3,000 to 5,000?
They've always
That's
asked
the
for,
group that's never,
no, they've always asked for 5,000, we've given them less.
okay. Well,
Yeah.
then I vote it's 3,000, because I'm sure they haven't gone and gotten their money
Right.
from the other communities.
And I would second that.
I'll go with that.
Aye.
There we go. We're on our way.
Okay.
The Association for the Blind, I would go with the 1,500, personally.
Yeah, I don't think they should
I
increase.
don't really believe that they came in for 2,000. John, do you have your book? Mine's
I think
at,
they came in for 2,000 last year, we put it at 15. We've been doing that for a couple of years.
mine's at the table.
Well, let's put it at 500.
No.
It's a national, it's, they're part of,
They do a lot of work here in Tilton.
okay, but they do a lot of work in Franklin, Meredith, Laconia.
They've been
Statewide.
around a long time, they have a very big endowment and the investments.
Each and every
Yeah.
time they come in and help someone out with macular degeneration in town, it's probably
Okay, but,
800 to $1,000.
so, but here's my question. With
I have it right here.
Obamacare, isn't everybody supposed to be insured?
No, because if you're not, then you get fined.
It's too.
Yeah, but those people choose
Yeah, I
to.
thought-
And I do know some people who choose not to have insurance because it's cheaper for them to pay the fine.
But if you're elderly and you have Medicare, Medicare takes precedence over your insurance. I know that for a fact. And if Medicare says no, you don't get it, even though your primary insurance before Medicare said yes, you don't get it.
My whole thoughts on, and I won't repeat it again after this, you just have to listen to me once on this one, is a lot of these are nonprofit organizations, they're national organizations, and just because they come to us and they provide services to some people in town, it doesn't mean we have to support them. There's cancer societies, there's SPCA, there's Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, Big Brother programs. We could go on forever. These are huge companies that are organizations that have a lot of money, and it doesn't mean we aren't for them. And I think we should use caution whenever we go and tell a taxpayer that we are going to take money out of your wallet and give it to a nonprofit organization, whether they like it or not. I don't think taxing is a good way of doing that. I don't see, fundraisers or cans out on counters or anything of these guys.
It's not whether they like it or not. They still have a final say on it. As a matter of fact, they have 3 says on it, 2 budget public hearings and a town meeting.
What do you want
My
to
vote's
reduce
for
it to?
1,500.
Have these people ever come in?
Yes,
They do.
When,
They do.
every year?
yes.
So what are you suggesting?
And they attend,
$1,000?
they attend very often up at the senior center with a lot of different ideas on how to create safe, visually.
Peter, what do you think of New Hampshire Association of the Blind?
15.
I'm like this. I mean, even young people everyone has eye issues, everyone.
Yep. And they've helped.
I just apologize because I didn't go when they came. I couldn't.
Is there a consensus?
Information.
Not yet, it's kind of tied. Catherine has an answer.
Now, she's asking everyone, but she's not divulging.
No, I'm just sitting here thinking about it. I'll go with 15.
All right.
Is that the consensus then?
Yep.
Yeah.
CASA, I would go with 500.
500, let's move on.
What do you think?
So that really, then, really what we're doing is all the way down, they're all level funded. Is what that amounts to. With the exception of Franklin visiting nurses, which was up slightly, very slightly.
I'd say
Lakes
Red
Region
Cross,
Planning was up.
$250.
What's that?
Red Cross for $250. They're one of the richest nonprofit organizations.
Have they come into their budget yet? No.
In fact, sometimes they don't even pick up the money, right? In the past.
15?
December 7th.
15, they did.
Yeah, 15 they didn't.
And it would have been
Well,
one of the other years in the three, that's the year on the 3-year average.
What? Wasn't it the Red Cross that came in, was it last year, and talked about them not being so affiliated with the national
They're
organization?
completely affiliated with it, and they actually give money that
I thought
from their
they did.
department
I thought
goes
they
to the national.
restructured
They
it.
restructured and now they're not.
You were there last year when...
Yeah, I
Yeah.
asked some questions about that, and they said, yes, they,
Well, why don't we come back to this after they've come to the Budget Committee? And let's
December
find out if
7th.
that's true or not.
Now, Lakes Region Planning is up just a little bit. And Pines,
We'll see what we put. By and large, it's about, the Pines is the same.
I'm not touching youth assistance, I'm sorry. I think that's a valuable resource to the town.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm just saying.
And so isn't Franklin
There's a few small,
B&A.
yeah, a few small increases. But by and large,
Animal control, we don't have any say on.
Genesis?
There's no animals.
It's a contract, I mean, that's what it costs.
I have that, but they had to double check, because they don't have in there, in the past in the contract, they had language in there on what happens to animals that they can't place.
Yeah.
We didn't find this one, so I have to call them.
Yeah.
But it's the same amount.
Is he providing a report? Does he provide a report?
Nope.
That was the thing that I often wonder about.
Well, we could get them from the PD.
I'd like a report.
I'm sure that he'd give us a report, but the thing is, we either have to provide the service ourselves or contract it out.
All right.
And they've always been the least.
Is everyone okay with the Pines?
No. Quite frankly, I think we don't get the services. We don't get $64,750 worth of services from the Pines.
I have a lot, my issue is, it's an outside agency. And my issue has always been, since I've been a selectman, that an outside agency, we fund because they give us services, but in this case, we're half of their operating budget.
Yeah.
And it's like if we don't, they're done, but we shouldn't be responsible for half of their operating budget to make things happen for folks in the town of Tilton. I have an issue with that.
Well, where's the, we use these monies to buy services from these
Right.
outside
When
agencies.
we use monies to buy services from Franklin B&A. There's a lot of people in the town of Tilton that do that use those services, but we're not half of their operating expenses, operating costs. You know what I'm saying? But our $64,000 and Northfield's $64,000 together is 100% of their funding.
They have program income.
They have very little.
Very little.
Very little.
Some of them actually cost them more.
Right.
programs.
If you look at the breakdown of it, we're funding. If we didn't fund it, they would not be solvent at all.
They would not
They couldn't
exist.
function, they wouldn't exist. If we couldn't pay, if something happened and we couldn't pay Franklin V&A this year, they would still continue to serve our residents, but I don't think they would go under. And that's not the case with this outside agency.
The Franklin Visiting Nurses, you can justify the cost of the services we buy by the number of people and the service they provide. You can't do the same with the Pines Community Center, because we should not be,
Don't close it down.
Well, they get about $165,000 of they have a $290,000
Budget.
and they get 130 of that 290 from the towns. The rest is from programs, grants, donations, things like that.
we should not be paying money for infrastructure
Less than 20,000
and salary.
donations. Grants and donations.
They've shown 24,000 for their budget, for 16 and 17.
I think my biggest thing is that they don't have anything for the teenagers that, or it's just that they don't want to go there. And we've talked to them and said that they should come to get together with the sports center, because all the teens are all going up there to play soccer and baseball, and that's like the thing to do at that age. And they should get together with them, but they won't even talk to them up there.
So,
And I think I'd rather take the money out of there and give it towards the sports center to create a program
For
that they could,
teens.
for
put 'em on
teens.
notice that we need to see something for teens, otherwise we're gonna be
Peter,
reallocating.
When I became a selectman in
That was-
2009,
Yeah.
I think the town put them on notice, and then they packed the hall at town meeting demanding that we up it's a very volatile situation.
But we also sat there and didn't make any case against
I
it.
mean, because it's like, it's sort of like an emotional thing with the townspeople than it is a financial thing.
But so anybody with a cause can take all those people that support the cause and pack town meeting and do that.
Yes.
It doesn't represent what the majority of the towns people feel. It only represents those that they've enticed to come in
The
there.
is to put that, just budget it like that and bring it to, reduce it at town meeting.
Right.
See what the people that are there, just,
You make a case at
People.
town meeting why you'd like to reduce that. But if you really sat down and studied what services are we getting for that amount of money, you'd be startled.
yeah, that's the hard part, is to include the kids. And I think they could save a lot more money and run a better program if they partnered with like the PEMI or something like that, let them use the building. They wouldn't have to be worried about the management, because they'd have a director, they've had enormous resources, they'd have professional people who know the programs that, the teens like and the kids, and partnered with them more.
I just don't know what to do at this point,
And
because,
how to get better grants.
there's a lot of people that use it. A lot of people that use the Pines. Tremendous amount. But I just can't see, every year I come up with this dilemma in my head, that why are we spending this much money for those services
You're
And
not covering all
it's,
age
out of
groups.
outside agencies, we're $177,000, although we cut a few here and there, but $177,000, and there's 65,000 of that 177?
Well, how much
That's
is?
a lot. All right, so I'm going to make a motion to go into non-public so we can talk about police.
Before you do, can I just point out that after the wage pages, there's a medical page, so just curious if they selected the...
No, because we haven't had a chance to...
We should do that next week with
sit down
Joe.
and do a comparison, but we have to do it by December
So
15th.
what I've worked out on
Next week,
on
yeah.
this page, it's tough to tell on the paper copy of this, but online, I've set it up in such a way that you can change the percents for the employee contributions, you can change the percents for the deductible offset for the SOS plans, and also set contribution percentages for the SOS plan if you choose to do that. So there's a lot of things that you can do in there. Bottom line is, right now, if you look at your health budgets for the administration, police, and public works, the budgeted amount for 2016 versus 2017, with all the personnel changes that we've gone through, it's $10,700 higher for 17, or 2.2%. So, but that is primarily because we had all the personnel changes. Everything else there was, we saw a 5.3% increase overall in health plans. So, but there's a lot of flexibility in working with that model and looking at, by changing those things. And it flows throughout the whole budget when you do it, so then you can see what's going to be.
I want to compliment him on put this tool together. I just haven't had time.
There's a lot there.
There's a lot there, and it took a lot to get this all programmed in. But I will say is that as far as any new program options through Health Trust, we've already done that. We did that in 2016. So for most other communities, they're just now switching to the AB20 plans, because those are no longer available. So we're already ahead of the game with these plans. And we looked at just briefly on, switching to some higher co-payment plans. I just didn't see that there was going to be much savings to the town. So I think what we want to focus on is, with these existing plans, what we can do to entice more people over to the site of service plan. Pay a portion of the premium. So right now, we don't pay anything of the premium for the site of service plans. And it really hasn't enticed people.
Let's go over it when Joe's here, December 1st.
Okay.
All right, make a motion to go into non-public for RSA 91:3, public safety. Talking about the budget, public safety.
If we're going to go into explanation, don't we want Joe here? And don't we want the chief here?
He knows about part of it.
Don't we want the chief here too?
I want to hear what it is.
Oh, okay.
I just want to hear what it is.
Yes.
I'm not going to make a decision.
I think it's what
Roll
we
call
talked
vote.
about before.
Yes.
Oh,
He's probably talked to you about it, I would think.
I think it's part of what we made a decision last week.
Didn't say, I'm working on it. I'm working on it.
and they're absolutely
Motion
entitled
to
to do
seal the
that.
minutes of the non-public as pertaining to public safety permanently.
9:10.
Second?
Roll call vote.
Yes.
Yes.
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
All in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I was very impressed.
Hey, at least we got through it.